Hey, you guys, Jim Savoldi here, developer of the Behavioral Analysis and Markets Model. It's May the 29th, about 5 p.m. my time here in San Francisco. Hey, first off, I just want to say thanks a million to everybody out there in the Ape Nation for the huge support, mind-blowing support over the past week and a half, and especially when I was hit by the cyber attack on Thursday night and pretty much all day Friday. So they're pounding me through email right now, pounding the support desk to try to overwhelm us with a bunch of garbage tickets so that we can't respond to the real tickets. Hitting us on every front. There's some people that have subscribed to the product and then immediately canceled, and then instead of even waiting for a few hours, gone straight to our payment gateway processors to trash us and say, the product wasn't what he said it was going to be, even though it's a 1-year product. They're a couple hours into the subscription period on after a cyber attack. So to me, that's clearly somebody that's a part of the same cabal that's pulling all this other stuff. So anyway, thanks a million for the support. Don't mean to start on a bummer note like that, but I just want to point out that you guys are, have my back. It's unbelievable. So obviously the number of Twitter followers here, this is you guys. This is all you guys. The subscribers here on the new YouTube channel, that's all you guys. It's unbelievable. I haven't posted yet. I'll try to post as fast as I can. I don't really know how to use this upload tool yet, to be honest with you. And then I have all these other computers we need to rebuild. So you guys just bear with me. But thanks a million. That's unbelievable. And can't thank you enough. I wanted to point one other thing out, you guys, and then I'll go straight into the charts and let you know where I think we're headed here per the model. Some of the talk about me being a shill, a plant from, the hedge fund industry from Wall Street to try to come in here and misdirect you guys or whatever, it's just complete nonsense. If you look at the fact that I've been long the stock since May 4th publicly with you guys from $9.19 when the model triggered the buy. But more importantly, that kind of thing, you guys have no way to really know what's going on or what I own or what my conviction is or anything else. This is all I can tell you. This tweet that I sent out, there is zero chance I would ever risk tarnishing at Real Jumping Joe, especially after working for so many years on the book and screenplay about his life story. Zero chance I am a Wall Street shill. I chose my side. I'm with the AMC Army. If you guys know anything about this man right here, my grandfather, this is a guy who risked his life as special ops and undercover behind enemy lines in Italy prior to the Allied forces coming ashore. This is German occupied Italy, where Hitler had already said he catches anybody out of uniform, they're going to be tortured and killed, right? And then a guy who goes back to school at 56 years of age, becomes a school teacher and a mentor, and I'm going to trash this guy to make a couple bucks, Anyway, you guys, there's zero chance I would do that. Whether you know me or not, zero chance I would do that. Okay, I've had a lot of questions about GameStop. I'm not going to add coverage of GameStop just because I sort of feel like, the incredible following that I have right now is because I've chosen to focus on a single stock that a huge group of people all have an interest in. And so I'm not going to go chase the shiny object. But what I will do is talk about something I pointed out a few weeks back, which is that GameStop is an excellent example of the reason why I said a couple weeks ago that according to my model, AMC is a pay me now or pay me later stock to the shorts. And what that means is when the stock was trading at, $9, $10 after I had bought it, and I had that retest level set at $32, my point was that if the stock doesn't melt up into my zone of strength, which was that 27th, 28th that we just saw late last week where we made contact at 32, that if it wasn't going to melt up into that point, that the stock could slowly experience the same, what I call trigger orientation that GameStop saw before it took off. And so I'll show you really quickly what I mean, and then I'll move on. So in my, and this is the 6-month chart. I normally show you guys the day trader chart, which is 2 days and has different trigger, 1 minute, 5 minute, hourly triggers. These are monthly trigger, weekly trigger, daily trigger, 60-minute trigger. Okay. So what I want to point out is that the trigger orientation, meaning that this is a little tough to follow along with, but bear with me, you guys. You see the orientation of these boxes that pop up. When you do the hover, that's showing you that this monthly trigger is on the bottom, then the weekly trigger is above that. You can see the box, and then the daily trigger, and then the hourly trigger, and then price, okay? When a stock is ready to trend and it's leaving a bear market phase or a long consolidation phase, the weekly trigger will move above the monthly trigger, and that signifies the start of either a intermediate term bull market or a full-blown, long-term bull market. So you can see where coming into, December, GameStop had the trigger orientation had popped. So a couple weeks prior, the weekly trigger had popped above the monthly. The week of December 17th, the weekly trigger was at 982 with the monthly trigger at 930. So it was slightly higher, but that doesn't matter. You just want the orientation of monthly, then weekly, then daily, then hourly. So as soon as that hourly trigger right here, purple, let me remove the price for you guys and clean this up. As soon as this hourly trigger right here pops above this daily trigger, and it basically happens right there, you can see the box pop to the top, the violet hourly. So that's, you guys remember this because I won't. So that's December 17th. It shows at the bottom there, December 17th, 11:30 my time here in San Francisco, okay? When that happened, that triggers a buy in this bigger picture algorithm, okay? So basically, we just said, we'll call it, I'm sorry, you guys, right there. So we'll call it $14.67. So you have the right trigger orientation, and now you have price above the hourly above the daily, and it's a buy for the model, right? So that's a clean buy right there. You see what ends up happening. So I thought I was recording a minute ago, and I wasn't. I just talked for about 15 minutes. So if this is wonky and I have repeated myself, sorry, but I can't go back and redo the first 9 minutes. So anyway, if you guys have been following me for a while, you know that going into Friday's trading, we were still in that sort of melt up zone, looking for that $32 retest. We hit it. That's why I have it marked as hit here. But coming into that session, these were the zones of strength and weakness, the predicted zones of strength and weakness in the intraday model. Some of these were generated 3 or 4 days earlier. So that's part of this model that I don't know how it works, but it seems to work. So anyway, we came into this thing predicting strength into 637. We had the strength into 635 basically. So missed the high by somewhere a couple minutes or whatever in there. And then strength into 7 o'clock. So after this correction, then the strength into 7 o'clock was this peak. And then obviously the market just started to fall apart. So for people who are watching carefully and the way I word things, you guys have to know that I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not allowed to talk about buying and selling and things like that. As a matter of fact, I'm not even going to put out any buy sell recommendations or the live trades inside the BAM investor subscription site. I used to do that. I've done it all along, but now I just have too many people gunning for me with this cyber attack and everything else. And, we have the recently started the fund, and I just can't risk accidentally saying something that I'm not supposed to say. So if you guys look at what the model was predicting, and the fact that I said right here looks nasty, and I had never worded anything like that. I'm really sensitive to the fact that a lot of you don't want any news about AMC declining or even correcting at this point. But I've told you in the beginning, I'm going to just shoot straight and show you exactly what the model is telling me. And I'm not going to sell the shares I own. Anyway, we clearly had weakness predicted into 738. This 10 to 11, this was the looks nasty. And so, this is basically saying, hey, we hit the 32 retest. I guess the market peaked around 36 or above. And so a retest becomes vibration. So we know that the model wants to see some kind of a probably, a $4 give back or something into this zone of weakness. So some of the people that are DMing me, and there's a huge list. I haven't been able to go through all of them, but I've seen a lot of people saying, hey, I had great success following the model and blowing out of some calls that were going to expire later in the day, right into the high. One person says they hit for a 54 times return. If that's, true, I assume it is. That means he or she bought calls probably right before the closing bell on Thursday. And I don't know the strike they would have bought, but it's, they would have been, obviously aggressive, cheap, sort of almost all or nothing calls. And then they blew out right into the spike. And so that was the note to me that they were able to use in the model and exit right around 7 o'clock. So right around that second little peak there. If you guys have been following me for a while, you know that on May the 21st, I put this out. This is the last call that I put out showing sort of like, this is a trade that I personally would do or that the model would want to do, right? And so I'm not even going to go cross this line anymore. So you won't see this, but I just wanted to reference this. So basically I said doubling the position at 58 cents, that the BAM model was looking for a low here, okay? At stock velocity is not bullish yet though. So that just means that the stock velocity, the anemoid terminals bought, which is reflected up here, went out flat on Friday. That bot was not long, but I decided to, sort of do almost like a mean reversion and buy into a predicted low. So the BAM model would have been predicting, some kind of a low time-wise way back on the 21st. That was before I was sharing that information with you guys. So anyway, you guys can go and take a look at what those traded to, the 13 strikes into expiration, but you more likely look what they traded for there, because obviously this was calling a high and this was calling a severe decline. So that's what would have gone on with this live position. If you guys are a new follower, you want to learn more about behavioral analysis of markets model that I built, you can go to Wikipedia and search for it and you'll find it. And, there's a little bit of information here. Basically, the editors took a small snippet from the information on the website. So if you want to learn more, do a much deeper dive, just go to the about and then learn more. And you can read through all of this. This is the paper that I wrote and gave to the CEO of the big fund that I went to work for. And basically, he just wanted to familiarize himself with what it was I was working on, because he had a strictly fundamental background from Fidelity. And anyway, you can do as deep a dive as you want into this. This is going to be probably thoroughly boring to most of you. And again, I can't reveal exactly what I'm doing here. 30 years worth of work. I'm not going to tell you, yeah, this is what I'm doing, but this will give you sort of an idea. I think this right here, in my mind, is the most important thing that you could sort of focus on if you're building something yourself or trying to sort of go down this same path. Read this carefully. There are some things in here that are, I reveal a lot there, and just keep an open mind, and I think that might be interesting. I wanted to do something I haven't done in several videos, several sessions. I wanted to do a quick check on the some of the hedge fund managers that have found themselves in a tough spot here, short EMC. First, we check on this guy. We always check on him first. Pretty much looks the same. Seems like his expression never changes. That guy, same thing. Now this guy has been, I've had the most feedback from you guys on this guy. I showed him in one other video. And the interesting thing about this fund manager is he looks remarkably similar to William Shatner. Now here's the scene where Adam, the silverback, starts to, first haunt this fund manager. And so let me freeze that, because this is so. I'm not going to accuse Adam of being on roids or HGH. He might just have genetically freakish quads. But I Googled this, and jets travel between 400 and 600 miles an hour. So to me, unless you are under some kind of or taking some kind of performance enhancing drug, I mean, I support the guy, believe me, but it's tough for me to say that this is all natural. Tough to stand on a plane's wing when you're natty. Now, here's the other thing. It's raining, right? So you got to think this is a slick surface, makes it even harder to believe. This is sort of cowardly. So this is where the fund manager, instead of just facing Adam himself, starts calling the flight attendant. Freeze right there. They used to call this a stewardess for you young kids out there. Stewardess. It's not politically correct anymore. She is a flight attendant. So she, and I don't know what he thinks she's going to do. Right? Is she going to walk out on the wing and confront Adam, tell him, "Leave me alone. I'll cover my shorts eventually. You got me in a bad spot here." And again, this guy. The bizarre part about this is that if you look this much like William Shatner, why wouldn't you just go to Hollywood and have a career in Hollywood? Why would you choose to be a hedge fund manager? And then if you were a hedge fund manager, why in the world would you decide to short AMC? I guess we'll end with my grandfather, Jumpin' Joe. And I'm not certain whether this guy was short AMC or if there was just something else, going on that day. My grandfather was supposed to be a really friendly guy until he was inside those ropes. So this is sort of like Wall Street, and this is Adam, friendly guy until you walk in between the ropes and short his stock. All right, you guys, good luck.